Hello everyone, this is Dan Miller. I want to welcome you to tonight's first training for Level 1 Network. We're going to be covering a lot of things tonight. Basically, I've made a list here. We know that there's a lot of people out there that do have a lot of questions. We're going to be covering those as well tonight, but there are some main points that I do want to cover tonight right away in training, and they're important ones. So one of the things I'm going to ask you to do at every training session is make sure you have a pad and a pad of paper and something to write with. You're going to want to take notes during these. They're very important notes that you're going to want to be taking. Everything that I'm going to be teaching you in this class is going to be affecting your positioning on search engines, on search engine rankings, how people are finding you online. And they're all very, very important keys. And we really do want you to pay attention to them, because I've already seen, I'm going through the blog, and I'm glad to see the blog exploding like it's supposed to. Don't get me wrong, but I'm already seeing common mistakes that people are making, and we're going to be covering those. And don't get me wrong, it's not the people that are making mistakes. I don't, if I'm not going to be naming anybody. I just want to point out these mistakes. But what I've noticed over the past 2, 3 years, 4 years, literally is with the online marketing. There's been a lot of training sessions out there, and I know a lot of you folks may have been in some of these training sessions, and I know some of the techniques you were taught and some of the techniques you just weren't taught. That's what's affecting your ability of getting that traffic online and getting things set up online to build the traffic you should be. So again, if you don't have something to write with, turn around and grab something right now and grab it, because you are going to want to take some notes. Now, one of the things I also want to bring up is, if you're in with our blogging system, if you don't have the premier products, and we're going to be covering this later too, if you don't have the premier products, you're going to find out through these training courses, we're going to be incorporating those premier products as well within our regular training sessions. And the reason why is, as we go through training to help you increase your rankings and show you the tips and tricks and techniques, we're going to be showing you how to incorporate these premier products to increase your rankings. Now, right now we do have it's scheduled for the pre-launch. You can get all 3 premier products for $3.99. That does run till March 15th. We may be extending that. I'll be talking to everybody in the class after we start taking some questions here a little later on. We've had a lot of people requesting to extend that. We may do it. But again, the biggest thing is SEO Pro Connect and PDF Pro Express. We're definitely going to be incorporating with regular blog training as well, just to show you how to get those rankings that come online. Now, there's been a couple questions that I get emailed with constantly, and we are making changes. The one thing I want you to realize with this system is we have built it for SEO. We've built it so you can get that traffic. Okay, the biggest thing that you're seeing right now is, and I want you to remember, is we're only a week old, and what's happening on the search engines with the entire network is it's doing what it was designed to do. And I want to show you something real quick, because this is one thing I've studied for almost a decade, is search engines. And the key is to this, and should be the first thing you write down. If you want to be found online, you got to be found through the search engines. Everybody turns around and focuses just on the program name. Let's market the program name. But have you ever sat back and thought, how do I bring in fresh people to my business? People who haven't even heard that program name before. And that's a huge marketplace. You always hear people talk about, saturation. You got 6 billion people on this planet. Saturation is virtually impossible. A lot of people say, well, it can be saturated at 30,000 members. It can be saturated at 100,000 members. Believe it or not, there's MLMs out there that have 12 million members, and they're not saturated. But the reason why they're able to pull in that many members is that they don't just focus their marketing on just the product name. They focus their marketing on bringing fresh people in that have never even heard of the products. And we're going to be showing you that as well with live training. But everything, the reason I'm bringing this up is everything comes down to the search engines. Because when you can be found on the search engines, you'll bring in as much traffic as you need, probably more than you'll ever expect, and you'll run your business successfully with Level 1 Network. I mean, very successfully. But I'm just going to type in Level 1 Network. And I want you to keep in mind, we're only a week old, and we're already climbing up the rankings. The site literally just opened a week ago. But one of the things I want to show is I'm going to go to page 3 here, you're going to see our categories. Remember that when I was talking about strategically building categories for search engines to index quickly? Here we are 9 days literally after we open the site. And usually for Google rankings, it can take up to 30, 60, even 90 days. But here we are just 9 days later. 9 days later, and our categories are already being indexed by the search engines and being ranked by the search engines. So when I'm telling you that 80% of the work for SEO has already been done for you with Level 1, it literally is done for you through the system. We've built this system for search engines. I should say I've built this system for search engines. So all you have to do is concentrate on your content. We're going to be showing you the other 20%. I said 80% of the work is already done for you. We're going to be showing you that other 20% of what to do. And it's not complicated. Very simple tips, tricks, and techniques that you're going to be able to use to turn around and increase your rankings as well. But just to even see those results within 9 days on Google is very, very powerful. Very powerful. So that's the one thing I want you guys to realize. I've been studying search engines now for almost a decade. I build software that integrates with search engines. I've done a lot of marketing online, and that's one of the other things that comes up is people say, well, if you do so much marketing online, how come I really never hear of you? Well, I can tell you this right now. A lot of the marketing that I do online, I'm going to move some stuff over here real quick. A lot of the marketing that I do online, it's silent. It's not involved with programs. It's not turning around and bringing in 100 people into this program and 100 people into that program. A lot of the marketing I do online is silent, and it builds my income for me automatically. And that's stuff that we're going to be covering in depth in our Master Training Series too as well, that you're going to be able to incorporate with your blog. But that is the one thing I wanted to show you. Now, I'm going to go through a list here, and here's the biggest things I want you to learn about search engines. And again, I see hands raising. Don't worry. We're going to turn around and get to questions. That'll all be covered. I guess the one thing I do want to check real quick is I'm actually going to turn around and lower everybody's hands here that's in the system. If you can hear me, please raise your hands. And if you can see my screen, please raise your hands. So if you can hear me and see my screen, raise your hands. Perfect. Thank you. There we go. All right. Some of the things I want to cover with you first. Here's a list that I want you to write down. I want you to write down search engines. Again, search engines are the keys to anybody's success online. If you haven't been taught that yet in any training session, that is the number one thing that you need to learn. Search engines are the keys to everybody's success online, regardless of what business opportunity you're involved with. Because if people can't find you through the search engines, you don't even exist. Okay? Meaning you're not going to get that traffic. And you're going to end up being one of those that get involved with a program that continues to fail over and over and over again. So search engines definitely are the key. Now, there's a lot of things that search engines use to turn around and pull your rankings up online. Basically, you're coming into a system, you want to promote this system, you're blogging to promote this system, you want what you're blogging to show up on the search engines, you also want any content that you turn around and publish throughout the network to show up on those search engines. But search engines take in a lot of information to decide who's going to get those rankings. And I'm actually going to give you this list, and you can verify this list anywhere online. This will tell you that I really do know a lot about search engines. Search engines, here's what they look for. Number one, they look for the title of the content. Believe it or not, the title of the content. So write that down. They look at the link of the content. And what I mean by the link is the actual URL to get to that content. They take that into factors. They look at the content itself. Is the content short? Is it long? Is it loaded with images? Is it directed? They have algorithms, believe it or not, that can even turn around and detect if content has been man-made or if content has been engineered by software. That's how advanced these search engines are getting now. Okay, so they look at the content itself as well. They look at keyword densities. Whatever the search term people are typing into here. Let me get this in. They look at whenever you're typing in a keyword. They turn around, they take that into factor. What's the keyword density? If you have it too high, guess what? They're going to drop your rankings. If they have it too low, they're going to drop your rankings. They look at page load times. Okay, they also look at page load times. Write that down. They look at the sites, the number of sites that are linking in to your content. They also look at the number of links that are going out to other sites from your content. And all those have to be relevant. Okay? They have to be relevant to your content. Otherwise, again, they decrease your rankings. Then they look at the entire site's content. How much content does the entire site have? So when you look at all these factors that search engines use, they've really designed these search engines now to turn up that relative content. And that's the biggest thing that you need to learn, and that's one of the things I wanted to start focusing on with training. Now, I'm not trying to confuse everybody, but I wanted you to make that list because as we're going through training, you're going to understand how all these come into play. You're going to see how each of these things come into play with how you rank on search engines for anything that you market online. For anything that you market online. Now, now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to jump into the back office here again. Again, if you don't have the Premier products, I'm going to recommend that you do get them. I'm not just trying to push sales. These are important products that are going to actually help increase your rankings online, and you're going to see that as you get these products and start using them within the network to build your business. But I'm going to get back to the Level 1 blog. Actually, I'm going to go to business setup first. One of the things that I want you to make sure that you've done is you set up your business correctly to turn around and receive your payments. If you haven't set up your business profile yet, please take the time to go through your business profile and set it up correctly. Select your payment systems, how you want to receive your commissions. Make sure you have everything filled out properly. All right? That's one of the biggest keys that we want to make sure that people have done. If you have turned around and you're an international affiliate, I just want you to be aware of this as well. We know our system is sending out checks right now, because I know this is one of the questions that are out there. Our system is sending checks right now for our international affiliates. We are working on another payment system. We're talking to 2 payment providers that we're sure we're going to be able to incorporate something to where you don't have to receive those checks if you're down in Australia or over in the UK. We are aware that there's fees for cashing checks in US dollars. I've worked with many international affiliates before, so we are working on an alternative payment system for those affiliates as well that are international to get you your money fast by avoiding those fees. So we are working on that. But again, make sure that you have your business profile set up. Now, for your blog, this is one thing that we've noticed. People aren't taking the time to set up their blogs correctly. And we want to make sure that you are setting up your blogs correctly. You're going to see that you got your dashboard, but here's the biggest thing. Your blog profile. I'll just get in here real quick. You want to make sure that you put in a blog title. We know that there's a lot of blogs out there right now. You're starting to post right away, but you don't even have a blog title named to your blog. So take the time to go to your blog profile and add that title to your blog. Believe it or not, that title, again, helps with search engines. If they see a blank title, it's not that it's going to hurt, but what I'm saying is you can use that title to actually help increase your rankings if you keyword it correctly. And you'll want to keyword it according to what you're trying to promote online. Okay, if you're promoting level 1, I'm not saying you have to use level 1 within your blog, but you can say online opportunity, work at home, all those keywords. Figure out some way to incorporate something along those lines with your blog title if that's what you're tackling. If you're in another industry, turn around and include some keyword or related keyword to that industry within your blog title. Again, that's just a clue for you to turn around and increase your rankings. You're also going to see that you have an About Me label. You can choose About Me, About Us, About Our Company. Again, we've built this for people that are individuals, people that work as teams, or people that are legitimate companies. So make sure that you turn around and you pull down the proper About Me label, and take the time to also turn around and write something about yourself, about your team, or about your company. Because if you go to the blog, here's what will end up happening here. Let me get to the back office here. I'm just going to turn around and go back to the home page here. I'm going to go to the blog URL. When you go to the blog URL, you're going to see right now that Joe Demo has no RSS feeds. And if I go to the About Me page, you're going to see it says Joe Demo Member Sense, and there's no information listed there. So one of the things we want to make sure that you do is when you go to your blog profile, make sure that you're filling out your About Me label and also writing some information about you, your team, or your company, and get it put on that page, okay? Because a lot of people are going to turn around, especially if you're using that About Me widget within your dashboard, and they click on that, all they're going to see is your photo and member sent. So write a little information about yourself. You can also use that, believe it or not, to sell yourself. So we want you to know that that is there. One other thing I want to cover is we're getting a lot of tickets in. Make sure you're taking the time to go through the knowledge base. I'd say about 60% of the tickets that we're receiving in are literally answered right within the knowledge base. So if before you contact support with a ticket, please turn around and check that knowledge base. Chances are the answer is sitting right there for you. All right. And sending tickets into support, we've ran into this complication too. When support answers, don't reply to that ticket. It's going to bounce. Turn around and go back, log back into the back office, go to tickets, and view your answered tickets, and you can respond from the actual ticket. If you turn around and actually respond to the email stating that your ticket's been answered, please log into your back office, and you just respond to that ticket, it's going to bounce, and we're not going to receive your reply to that ticket. Another thing I want to cover real quick is landing pages. We have 3 options for landing pages. We're going to end up building more, but we have 3 built right now. Please realize we're only a week old, so we are going to be getting these landing pages built, more landing page options built for you. But the one thing I want you to understand is we're about to change the way that these landing pages work. Right now, when you're using these landing pages, they're going to your blog, to the purchase page, which is on the main page of the blog, or not the main page, but which is basically nestled within the blog site itself, within Level 1 Network. So what we're doing is we're actually in the process, we're building a sales funnel. So when you're using these landing pages, you're going to see this change probably happen by, I would say, Saturday night at the latest. What's going to happen is when somebody logs in, turns around and gets to your landing page and enters their info and clicks submit and joins your list through either Aweber or GetResponse, it's then going to bring them to a video. The only thing that's going to be on that page is literally a video. It's not going to be on the blog. It's going to be just the purchase page is going to show that, or the next page that's going to show is that video. So that video will play. There'll be highlights of the program, no other links except that purchase button. Now, that purchase button, when they click on it, it's going to bring them right to the gateway. All right, so we wanted to make that clear too. We have a new sales funnel that's being built. We didn't have it done in time for our launch, but we wanted to get Level 1 out there so people could see what we were doing. And the one thing I want you to keep in mind here is this isn't a system where I got to turn around and call a team of programmers to change things, and we got to wait 30 or 60 days. When we see things that people are requesting, and we're getting a lot of great requests, and you can see that we've already responded to some of those requests and implemented them very quickly. But when we need something that needs to be changed with our system, I'm actually the programmer of the system. I can literally jump in, reprogram it, and make that change, most likely within 24 hours. So when you're seeing things change within our site, please realize we don't have our system outsourced. We don't need to wait 30 or 60 days. So when we're implementing these changes, and you're going to see a lot of changes as we grow. We're only a week old. We're going to be taking the advice of our members. We're going to be taking suggestions from our members. We're going to be talking about this through training classes, that when you guys want to see some changes, the changes that we're able to do, we're going to get those implemented for you right away. It's not something you're going to have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks for. We're going to be able to do it right away because I am literally the one programming that. All right, so I just wanted to explain that too. Now, blogging. I'm going to go to create a new post here because there are some things here that I want you to understand when you're turning around and you're creating a post with your blog. Pretty much everything here is simple. You can turn around, you select your category, but in the title of your post, here's one of the biggest mistakes I'm seeing happen online. So please take note on this. When you're creating the title of your post, you're seeing people put in special characters. Okay? You're seeing them put in colons. You're seeing them put in dollar signs. You're seeing them put in, little stars and stuff like that. You want to make sure, and regardless of what you've been taught in the past, you want to make sure that you stay away from using special characters in the title of your post. And people will say, why? Believe it or not, when Google is indexing a blog post, or any web page for that matter, it starts from the top. Okay, so it starts from the top of that page and works its way down. So what's the first thing that it's going to grab? It's going to grab the title of your post. Now, for instance, if you use a star key, and we've seen this, and again, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, I just want you to be aware of this. So when you see view, and let me put in the star key, video, proof, and then another star key. Whenever you add that symbol in there, believe it or not, that's a wild card call out for search engines. Meaning, what the search engines, when they come through and they're reading that and they actually read that little character, it can actually prevent them from reading most of your content, because it'll actually start throwing wild cards into your content. And you can do research on what stars mean for wild cards. But every symbol has a meaning to search engines, just like a colon. If you turn around and you put techniques and you put in a colon, here's what to do. Okay, you can see in here I got an apostrophe and I got a colon right here. It might be hard for you to see on your screen, but it's there. Whenever you're using that colon in your title, and here, in fact, I got PowerPoint pulled up here. I'll type it out so you guys can see it very big. So whenever you're in your blog title and you're going techniques, excuse my spelling, and you put in a colon, believe it or not, that's another call out to search engines. You know, some of these call outs can even truncate what you are turning around and putting in your content, meaning stopping the search engines from reading what you're putting in your content. And we see it all the time online. Nobody really talks about it. But if you understand how search engines work, you're going to find out very quickly that every symbol, pretty much every symbol, has its use within search engines. They actually use it in code. They use it in their code for reading, their robots, their meta crawlers. So that's what they search and index first when they're coming to your blog is your title. So if you're using any type of special characters, my recommendation is never include a special character, any type of special character, within your blog title. And people say, wow, really? That can't be true. I've been doing this for almost a decade. And you'll actually see it. Now, I'm not saying you won't rank if you use special characters within your titles. Because we'll have some people, and I've ran across this through other conferences before, where people say, I've used characters in my titles, I still rank online. I'm not saying you won't. What I'm saying is if you don't use them, you'll actually rank higher. Okay, so that's one of the things that I did want to cover. For titles within your blog post, turn around and try not to use special characters. You're going to find out that it's going to be more search engine friendly, and that's the biggest thing that Google wants. When they're coming in to search and index your content, they want to be able to read that content fast. They don't want to be caught up. And here's what happens. They see a special character, boom. Okay, here's a special character. That's indexing wildcard. That's indexing truncate the system. This special character is indexing, a different parameter for a site, for site compilation. So they take all those special characters and it actually slows down that search engine. Then they go through the rest of the page and find out that, guess what? The special characters that you put in aren't for truncating the system, aren't for wildcards, aren't for, site indexing, a specific site. So it reads through the content and says, wait, why do they got these special characters in there? It'll actually drop your rankings because you're using special characters now within your title that are not related, believe it or not, to the content that you're writing about for specific search engine callouts, and they'll actually drop your rankings for that. So just keep that in mind. Special characters in blog titles is one thing I recommend against. Same thing with your, I should say with your post titles. Same thing with your blog titles as well. You want to stay away from special characters. And again, I know a lot of people have never been taught this, so that's one of the first things I wanted to cover. The other thing I want to cover too is with your blog post, when you're creating it, you'll see that when you turn around and you click this link here, it's going to pull in your post URL according to your title. And of course, you're able to go in and edit this if you wish. Don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. We're going to be teaching you here how to turn around and keyword the title of your post. And of course, when you keyword the title of your post and you click it, it's automatically going to create that URL link that turns around and includes that keyword as well. And the URL link is now matching the title of the post. And as long as you keep that in place, guess what? It's going to help you rank higher again. Everything always comes down to relevancy with search engines. So the more relevancy and the more everything matches up according to the keywords that you are looking for or targeting within your blog post, as long as you're starting to keep everything in line, the search engines are going to like that. Now, if you're using special characters like wildcards and dollar signs and stuff like that, it's going to eliminate it. And I just want to show you what will happen to your post URL link real quick here. If you turn around and type in, let me put make dollar sign with level 1. Let me uncheck this and recheck it again. You'll see what will happen right here. I'm just going to copy this so you can see it big. It's going to eliminate those dollar signs. But here's what we end up with people doing as well on the system. So the dollar signs, again, those are going to be symbols. It's not going to be carried down. So we actually have people trying to put in the dollar signs within these link URLs. You don't want to do that. Link URLs cannot contain symbols. And we're getting support tickets on that. So I just want to make sure that you understand. You do not want to do that. Now we'll also have people that turn around and they'll put the spaces in. And they'll put in a bunch of dollar signs. And then the same thing will happen. So they're trying to figure it out. The biggest thing you want to make sure is, number one, don't use the special characters within your post title. You want to target the keywords you're targeting with. Everybody says, well, yeah, but it draws attention when they see my title. I understand that if they already know the site you're coming to. But the one thing I want you to remember, nobody on Google is typing in, learn how to make dollar sign. They're not even, do you see what's happening here? Google's not even going to index that. It won't even search it. It's going to clear them out. So if you're including that stuff within your title, guess what? You're only hurting yourself. It's actually not going to allow you to rank within the search engines like you should be ranking. Okay? So again, with those blog titles, and for the post and your URLs, keep them in line. Try to not put the special characters within your titles. Try to keep them clean. And then, of course, the URL that appears, if you want to change it, just make sure it's related to what you're actually targeting within your title. Your post made a description, same thing. You don't want to use special characters. Keep a simple word-based description that Google, that search engines, Bing, Yahoo, that they're going to be able to read. Okay, make sure you're not using those special characters within your meta descriptions. And your meta description doesn't have to be huge. Everybody always thinks if I make a long description, the better. Believe it or not, Google, everything's changed so much within search engines. Back 5 years ago, you used to be able to go back to these search engines and you could just load up keywords, basically spam keywords. You could have keywords just slammed into your meta keywords and keywords slammed into your description and keywords slammed all over the place, overpopulated, and Google would rank you higher about probably 5 years ago. But Google gets smart. So does Bing, so does Yahoo. They get smart. Hey, people are now spamming these keywords to turn around and increase their rankings. Now, there's still a lot of people who are taught that philosophy. You don't need to do that. Keep your descriptions of what you're writing about short and to the point, and include the main keyword you're targeting. And then, of course, for your post-meta keywords, include the main keyword and related keywords, and I'll be covering keywords here in a little bit, of what you're targeting. And you just separate them by comma. For instance, you could put make, and you don't need to capitalize it, make money. You could have online income, work from home. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually separating the phrases. Okay, you can see how I'm doing that there. That's how you want to do it. Believe it or not, when it comes to keywords, Google doesn't break down on a word-by-word breakdown, okay? They break it down to keyword phrases. So whatever keyword or relative keywords you're targeting, make sure you're including those as well within the post-meta description. And of course, we'll be turning around covering that as well. Now, the other thing I want to make sure that you're very clear on is when you're adding content. And we're going to show you some tricks because we have some people here that we're asking about being able to add special things within our system, and we're going to show you how to do that tonight. But the one thing that we also noticed with a lot of people with their post, or I should say I have noticed, because I've been monitoring it and making notes, because the one thing I want everybody to get from this training, I want them to get true training where they're understanding where they're going wrong. So please take this to heart, and I hope you're taking notes on this. Now, we have a lot of people that are creating posts, and one of the first things that they're doing, guess what? They're going to throw in an image. I'll just copy this one here real quick. They throw in an image, and then they start their blog post. The first thing that's going to happen, I should say it this way. The first thing that you want to do is never include an image first within your blog post. Never include a video first. Never include three sentences in just a video. If you're looking for Google to index that page fast and keep it held at a high rank for a long time, get right to your content. Now, I'm not saying it's not okay to add images. Of course it is. But you'll see people